Well folks, welcome back to the workshop again to another power tool repairathon video. We're going to start the video off on this one, an FF grip hammer, simply because I've already ordered a part for this. It's now in, and I'm really praying that that is the part I actually need, because I've been waiting around 2 months, if not more, for this here part to arrive. So this is an FF grip hammer, and it's actually out of a hire shop. So I know it's taken 2 months to get here, but they're not going to be all that fussed how long it takes, as long as they get it back fixed. They're not panicking for it. Normally, likes of a hire shop, they're wanting these back fairly quick, but this one's only 240 volt. That's the problem with these FF grip ones. You don't get them on 110. Hire shops generally just sell 110 volt stuff, but this crowd keep a few FF grip hammers in for whenever somebody comes in asking for a machine and they ask the question, what's a transformer for a 110 volt? Then they just generally say, don't you worry about that. We've got a machine here that'll suit you fine. Because you can't give 240 volt to tradesmen. Site work all has to be 110. This is only for domestic use. So DIYer at home, if they needing to rent a hammer for a while, they generally rent something like this. This one, I'll just run through it here. I'll show you the reason why I ordered this part. This one, she's starting. They say it's very inconsistent with the speeds. The last few people had it out said it kept slowing down on its own. So that'll be indicative of the speed controller. Now the reason why I like this particular brand, FF grip, for home use, for DIY use, not professional use, obviously. They're a nice price machine to buy. They're a good powerful machine, but repairs, you can get all the spare parts for them. And speed controllers, for the likes of a hammer, or most corded tools, or any tool really, are actually quite expensive to replace. So there's your part number if you're ever looking to order one of these. You might have to order through a main supplier, mind you. It's not like you can just go online and order this. These here can be expensive. So unlike a Bosch hammer, these could easily cost you anywhere from 80 to 150 euro. These FF grip ones, 10 euro plus the VAT. I mean, come on, nothing wrong with that. Right or wrong, it's not going to be breaking the bank, this repair anyway. Pop off the handle and get off the bottom cover. Yeah, that's the right part. Plenty of wires going into this anyway. What way are we then? There's no connectors in any of these. Two reds going up onto the switch, and the two blues are going up. I've got a black, a brown, and a yellow. It's a bit of an annoying thing here, look. They all have wee connectors, and they don't even have the connector on the part. That's a bit of a torture. So I'll have to fit angle connectors onto this. And one for here. Yeah, we'll see which way this is. A wee small connector there. Sometimes the spade connectors can be the hardest part of the repair, because sometimes they can be very tight for space. You have to fit an angled one, or there's an angle connector. It had to fall inside, didn't it? Remember to take that out. I don't think that's screwed on or anything, is it? There we go. Right. Make sure we take that out. that's built a lot like the Bosch 7. Bosch hammers generally have the steel plate on the bottom bearing and the same setup for the bearing, and then the same kind of brush holder. None of the parts are compatible, mind you. It's just sort of the same design, build wise. Get rid of that. I stick this on here. The red wire is actually connected. Now, this is a wild awkward job. Thought it was just going to be a quick and easy stitch swap. But I did it for now. Give myself some room. Switch, mind you, is a lot like the Makita one. Should have ordered that as well. I wonder if I can use that instead of the Makitas. Very similar. Right, we'll clean that for a start. Blue wires are the same length, only wee ferrules on it. Gonna need to put these onto these. So heat shrink and probably solder, I'd imagine. There's nothing wrong with using wee crump connectors either, but I have the soldering iron here, so I'm just going to use that. Another wee job these pliers come in very handy for. Squishing this down a little bit, just in case the solder gets built up too much in one spot. Or you could just use shrink wrap. That's a little bit bigger. Now, so all the connectors swapped over and you be angled and straight ones put on, and we bootless ferrules. Now if you're doing this for yourself, if you're just changing your own speed controller on your own machine and you don't have the connectors, you can just solder them on if you want to. Solder them directly onto the connector. Wee dab is all you need. It's just getting your machine up and running again, it'll be fine. But in the long term, speed connectors are going to be better so you can replace things again. Also, I think we should be alright with what the problem is. These speed wheel's very loose, so I say dirt's been getting onto it. Yeah, good bit of difference in that. Right, get this thing back together again. See if we're getting it onto this first, and then we'll wire on the switch then. Yeah, actually, I'll just get the power lead on here as well. Now we'll just get that on for now because I see another wee mistake there. Cheap part, awkward to fit. Just take that out again because this needs to be up in here. Now that way. Last thing, just get the switch wired up. One on one. This connects to this and this connects to that, doesn't it? Just double check. This one with the blue and the black is the motor leads. The other ones are going to controller. Yeah, right enough. You're connecting them across. So the heavy blue wires are coming from the controller. They're going onto the switch, and then the leads from the switch are going onto the motor. That should do the trick. For all that was actually quite an awkward repair. Right, that should cure that problem. Run now at one speed all the time and no longer go up and down. That's it. One FF grip hammer, RH7/40 Pro. With a brand new speed controller fitted, brand new €10 speed controller fitted. If it was your own machine, I don't think you'd have the same kind of problem. That's just for hire shop stuff, generally gets a hell of a lot of abuse. I think that thing's holding up quite well for a hire shop machine. Now here's one we don't get on too often for repair, mainly because we simply don't take these things in for repair. Ryobi only sell the tools to the big massive shops, so all the smaller ones can't afford to stock them. Nobody can stock the tools, nobody supplies spare parts, so we can't actually fix these things here. So we don't take them on normally, but this one might be a simple fix. At least I hope it is. Common one for the Ryobis. And if you have one, this or the Dewalt do the exact same thing. This thing I don't think is going to fire. At least I hope not. See, I'm putting it on the bench here. Yeah. Nothing. Problem is actually a very simple fix. You can tell from the front of it. Dewalt's the exact same thing. See the probe? The probe is not getting on far enough. See where it goes down there? I let that LED light go out. There's the wee button down here that turns on the LED light. If that goes out, it'll not be switched on by this here. So that switch ain't activating anything. Problem, it's just the depth. Check this out. Take that back or out half a turn or a full turn just so the probe is sticking out a wee bit further. Now the light comes on. Now it'll actually fire every nail. Out of nails now. This is very common for these nailers, and the Dewalt do the exact same thing. If you put the probe back in too far, it just doesn't engage the switch. But like I say, we don't actually look at these things. Don't be coming on here ringing onto this place asking to drop these things in, because we don't look at them. I'm only looking at this because I'm from a customer from the shop. I normally would even tell them we don't look at it, but I know that there is a common thing. It normally is. That's all that's wrong. I know it's not sinking them nails fully. That's simply because I'm not bearing down on it, because I'm actually holding it up high. That'll still sink them if you push down. See what I mean? Aerize them. You're going to take it out the whole way. Oh, misfired. Even out fully, she still puts them on flush. If you have one of them, or the second fixer 18 gauge Dewalt nailers, and it's not firing at all, always check your probe. If you're plunging it down and she's doing absolutely nothing, not even putting on the light, that's that there probe. She just doesn't have enough travel to engage it correctly. But it's a very simple fix. Just take it out again. Alright, this one is the heavy duty Makita Recip saw, JR3070 CT, and she's coming with extras. Thought it was just a foot, but this here's in pieces. So new tool holder fitted and a new foot or a shoe. So this is actually just a wee bit rusted. I'm not sure if all these pieces are gone. We'll salvage what we can and replace the rest. Might keep that as a bit rusted. And plastic bits. Yeah, a bit of damage there, look. They're only cheap, plus they're plastic, so they wear out. Spring's a bit flat and it's rusted. Might keep that. That's just rusted like mad. That's a piece of rubbish. That's the wee spring clip for holding it all on. And 2 pins, which are also a little bit rusted. We'll see if we're going to keep them or not. Right, let's see what we can do with this. Just get rid of the loose bits of rust. Could foil anything up. These are fairly heavy duty, so you don't need to do too much of it. More awkward just rebuilding these here tool holders, that's the problem. We're going to need a few more bits here. So that's the wrong shoe. We don't need the housings. I guess the bag I want. They're the right shoes. I think everything I need should be in this. No, it's not everything. Well, what bits do I have? Right. That's the wee T, that's the wee ejector pin for inside. We definitely need that, that's missing. And I'll just take a fresh one of these too, because that is looking a little bit worse for wear. Plus a bit of shoulder on it too. The cleaner it is, the smoother it moves. Less likely to get jammed up again. That's the main thing, it destroys or fouls up tool holders of these recip saws. Well, they just start to corrode. That's the spring, as you can see, much longer. So I'll change the rubber cap on the end of it. It's a protective cover. And there are just more springs inside of there. We also need the wee fine spring for the inside of it. So we need more bits yet. Older version, there we go there. That's the fine spring for inside for holding that wee ejector pin. It's a roll pin. Why you have so many gear casings and gearboxes, I do not know. Just another foot. Seal clips. Something over them as well. That's one of them pins. We'll replace that. Just about every piece for repairing these here jigs, these recip saws. Sometimes there's just always one part missing. It's the wrong one. The bits there I'm looking for. That one. I think that's just about everything, unless I have one of them wee mini pins. On the spring too. A lot of pieces inside of this, you wouldn't think it. Seeing as that is actually dismantled. Might just replace that as well, just in case that's why it's dismantled. Right, I'll go with that. Let's see if I can remember how to do this now, because it's been a while since I built one of these. And they're not exactly straightforward. Reuse that because I'm not sure if I have another one of those. That's just a wee lock pin anyway. Right, first bit now is your spring, rebuilding this. Now this is the first bit that's actually really critical as well, because this has to be the right way around. If you put it on wrong, by the time you get this on, then this is what decides where this piece sits, and this is what actually unlocks your blade for opening the tool holder. If you do it wrong, this will be on the wrong side and it'll be trying to open on top of the shoe down here. You'll not be able to get the thing out again. So it has to be facing up this way. And it's this that decides it. So it has to be on beside the small hole. So the best way to do it is to hold the saw right. Turn it around this way So you've got your wee small hole facing you, not the big hole where the lock pins get in. Have it this way. It's not always the same for all these saws either. Sometimes different models can be, you need different orientations. You'll find out the hard way if you rebuild it wrong. Now that goes on next, and then you put on your pin and an ejector pin. I like to put the little spring in now, simply so you can see where it is. See, it's all sitting up there, look. Put that on first, so you can push it down and know that it's actually all the way down on top of this here big spring. You can see it down there now. If it doesn't go down right, and you put this on over the top, you can't really tell. And then whenever you go to put this pin on, the ejector pin, you can end up bending or breaking it. So if you are doing this repair yourself, sometimes it may be better to order 2 of those little springs because they're very easily damaged. Stick that on, 2 springs first, then this plastic piece. Obviously this sticky uppy bit, let's get into this hole. Feed that in if you can find it. Twist this around to line up the side hole there, the wee mini hole. That's what this pin's for. But don't stick it all the way through. Put it in the plastic piece and just have it touching the hole. So it's just sitting there and no more. Don't be letting it interfere with that spring down there. So it's just that, we're just doing like that there so it's ready to push in, so there's no messing around later. So this piece in, we're just setting that on temporarily, just to help guide this down. If we don't put that on, whenever we go to push in this ejector pin, it can move around too much. It'll probably pop out or fall out sideways. That's just to support it. Get yourself a blade then, and use the blade to push down the ejector pin. It feels like the resistance, just stop. Yeah, see? Dropped over to one side, look. You should be able to feel it going down. And then you want to push this pin the whole way through. That's not right. Shouldn't feel resistance. Ah, see what I mean? See that spring? Dropped into the hole. The question is, do we bend it now? Just take it out again, just so we see. That is just trying to be very awkward. You can probably tell this isn't my favourite job. Why is that getting on like that? See what I mean? Takes nothing to bend it. Now that's no good. We're going to have to take another one. See what I mean by ordering 2. These things can just be a pain. And I want to stick to that one. I have everything magnetized now, look. I think we're right this time. Right, second time lucky. That in the ejector. That's better. Push it all the way down. You should feel it going down nice and smooth, and then you can push this metal pin all the way through. Right, that's it there now. So the pin's actually locked in to the ejector pin, and the wee coil springs underneath it. Like that. And this is just to hold this pin in. And there's two wee cutouts here that lines up these two here. Just drop them on. And we can stick this back on. Oh, put it on the right way, that is. Line up them holes and take the wee mini pin in. Push it through, it locks that on there. Take your new lock pin and spring, as it actually holds in your blade. Push that on there. And that's where you find out if you've done it right or not. When you go to put this bow on. Oh, hold on, wrong. Yeah, technically that'll be the lock position. So if it's in the lock position, the blade would actually already be in it. The open position, it should be sitting further around. So it's actually locked into here in the open position. That should be better fit. I hope so anyway. Now, if I put that there, should slide all the way down and lock into the wee teeth. I'm just going to replace that as well. So that's it down. Oh, you had to go and do that on me, didn't you? We just need to get this boy back on without pulling it apart again. This is just a wee spring clip. Just a flat spring coiled up, and just uncoil it back around the holder. Then you can push it down and it'll clip into place. But of course it's trying to do it as I push, so it's going all the way to the bottom. There we go. That's it all down. And lastly, that's the wrong cover, isn't it? Tells about it. No, it does matter. Yeah, that one's for the cordless version. It has two sides. That doesn't make big odds. That's just basically a mirror image of this one. This one's just one-sided. That just goes over the top. Make sure it goes the whole way down, and that should be it. Then when you push on your blade, it clicks in and locks. So that just drops into the lock position, holds it, and now we turn it around again. That wee ejector pin pushes us out. That's her. The last thing, just a little fit or shoe. And that doesn't feel right either. The other torture of these saws, getting these here bloody covers off. Just unroll it like you were, well, you know. That's a good job of taking that off, actually. Other things wrong. Yeah, pain to get off. Look at that. Good job of that too. That wasn't going to last much longer like that. Screws have all come loose. And so was this one. That's why it's not holding the shoe right. And that's actually gone too. Right, most important bit is get this back on properly. They're okay. Probably doesn't need any grease, but we'll put a wee bit of extra on just to keep her sweet. Now, just want to get some new screws for this as well. Right, new leaf spring for holding the shoe. Now that is the right screw for this. This one's for this here. Because they're worn out, I'm going to fit different ones, longer ones, because you can actually fit longer ones on these, just to make sure these don't come out again. All the way into the housing down here, but there's enough room and they can come out the bottom of here. Also just make sure these are tight if they came out. They're alright. No. Just drop this back on. Needs to have this little bar at the front for actually holding the shoe. That, this. These can be some of the most annoying machines to repair, the recip saws, because there's a lot of parts to them, especially these Makita ones. They can be expensive to fix. All the wee pieces aren't that expensive, but you can lead a lot of different pieces and all the little bits can add up. But the biggest problem is just when you find things like this, you can be nearly finished one and then you discover something else gone, so you could end up having to order more parts and wait longer, so it can just sometimes take an awful long time to get them fixed up. That's why you generally have so many spare parts for them. So getting this off is a bother, and getting it on is a bother too. Get it all the way down first and then just roll it back up again if you can. Now, this should now lock in. That's her. One Makita recip saw. Up and running right again. Pain to work on, but they're a great machine to actually use. The JR3070 CT. Now, I think there's actually a second one to rebuild. Right, I'm sticking the heating on for this one because I am foundered. Dewalt drill. Look at the state of this thing. This thing has had a good life anyway. Even the Dewalt name is actually worn out of it. Look. A DCD778. That thing has done an awful lot of work. It's working, but it just wants a new chuck. But this here is just about worth it. Because that switch ain't really the best. I'll stick a chuck on it, but it wouldn't be worth any more than that, because to change the switch to fix that, you're replacing the brushless motor. But for the amount of work that's done, I think it deserves a new chuck. Let's see if we can get her off here and get her fixed up. Is it completely gone? Oh yeah. Not doing anything. Right, see if we can get it off for a start. I take it that as it torques. Yeah. Stick her on. Make sure she's on low speed. It's a tight one. Sometimes you just need the impact driver. Go back and forth, forward and reverse until she slackens off. Higher speed. Or just smash the butt. Right, looks like we're cutting. Gonna have to cut off the screw as well by the looks of it. That's broken on the actual. Oh, there we go, we got it right. Not even install there's anything I can do with that. We'll try one more. Last bit. Well, I can go upstairs and take another one, but it's the last one I have down here in the workshop. These aren't exactly made for impact drivers, just normal bits. Yeah. That's 2 gone. Looks like we're cutting. Doesn't matter if we get that out or not, because we have to cut that screw off anyway. Right, low speed, and we'll just slice it off with the grinder. Cut it off around about here. There's a thick area and a thin area. This chuck comes down, the jaws come in, and there's a big wide area where the actual jaws go through. You want to cut just behind that wide bit. So you start slicing in and you start cutting through steel straight away, you're on the wide bit. Go a wee bit further back. You just want to basically nip off the head and cut that wide bit gone, and then you can cut down through the middle. Or you can cut the whole way through the wide bit and give yourself a bit of leverage when you're knocking it off the hammer. But obviously if you're cutting through the wide bit, you're doing a lot more cutting. Isn't that just typical? One time the camera doesn't record and I missed something that never actually happened before. I was trying to cut this off the hard way through the thick part, just to show you how hard it can be and to show you how it's easier to knock it off if you cut it through that way. And look, it actually just unscrewed. Must have been the heat from the actual grinder, from grinding it. So slicing it through the thicker piece, I must have just heated it up that much, it expanded it, and it actually started unscrewing when I was grinding. Typical. For some reason the camera didn't record when I was doing that, but that's it off now. Let's see if we can get the screw out. Generally, whenever you have to cut them off like that there, if you can't get the screw out, you're basically cutting them off anyway. Doesn't matter if you dismantle the gearbox. If that screw won't come out, you have no way to remove the chuck anyway. Slice it off, you take off the head of the screw, and then you can get the rest of the chuck off anyway. But when you do take it off like this, and you have to cut that screw out, you're left with no head of the screw. So you still have to get the thread out if you're putting another one on. But it is nice and simple. There's no head, there's no tension, it should just come out. And it's only a normal drill bit you need, it's not a left hand thread one, because this is a left hand thread screw. So drilling in should take it out in theory. If I was drilling straight, that is. This one's not as loose as I thought. Should have centered that a wee bit better, but it shouldn't matter. If it's tight and doesn't come out with the first one, just get a hole started and stick in a bigger one, and that'll bite. Hopefully. There we go. That's it out without any damage. One chuck, one screw. Now, if I'm being honest, if I had a cheaper chuck, I would have put it on. Because this is only just worth a chuck. I wouldn't go spending much money on it. Just get that on nice and tight. Stick a screw on. That's her. Another lease of life on an old and well abused Dewalt drill. Next up is another dirty one. A proper shitey one. Set of animal shears. Kerbal. Not sure what that is. constant 4. These here for shearing animals, sheep or cows or whatever. Generally, they get fairly crusty with, as you'd imagine, what comes out of the back end of an animal. These here, not sure what's wrong with them. Yeah, that's all right. Looks to be just the lead. Should easy enough. Right, what's going on there? So that one's drilled out. And that's about to cam out. Or about to strip. Luckily I have a brand new set here. I have the tool bag with me. Allen keys, once they wear, you get a lot of play. Well, actually, maybe it's not the Allen key. Maybe it is the screw. We're okay. I was going to strip the head out there. The Allen key's not as badly worn as I thought. It's just a home set I have in the tool bag. I have that with me. What the hell's this one? That's just been drilled. Yeah, drilled and it's only loose. Somebody's tried to open it already. So if they tried and stopped, what else is wrong? In other words, I have to replace that one. The rest are just torques. Yeah, I was thinking there's something there. They're security torques. That's why he stopped. Got to the first one and it broke off the center pin. So we could use a standard torques. Then he must realise there's another 5 more to go. So we need the security torques for this. They're too small and there's none of them security. This is an old dripper one that looks like it might have been modified. Modified or just packed out? Nah, tip's been drilled a wee bit. It's not enough. They're just standard torques. Just take this back down. I've actually been onto the rep. That's already been replaced. That's the head snapped off it. I actually have an order put on there today. I sent the rep, so there's one of these ordered already. So I can take this back down to the workshop instead of leaving it up in the shop there. Had to go up and get it just to get this here torques. Oh, lovely, all soldered connections. So that was crushed there as well. This is a skinny cable too. This is a H05 cable. I use H07, this is a bit thinner. It's actually crushed there as well. I don't have any H05, so I'm just going to use this. I'm going to joint it or put it back on again because I don't have anything that's going to fit this grommet. I'll have to refit that because it's an oddball one. The wee meal-off soldering iron gets pulled out for everything now. I would not be bothered going and getting any other soldering iron. The thought of sitting and waiting for them to heat up now, that's just too much to bear. I'd avoid trying to use a soldering iron if I could, because of the time it takes. That's here. A few seconds and it's good to go. It's one of the best wee buys I've actually got. Just be careful in case I put too much heat onto that. It's an odd way of doing it there. Two leads soldered together and then just soldered onto the cap. They're actually twisted as well. I really didn't want to leave you much wire here. I know what you're probably thinking, you're very unsteady with that soldering iron. You have to remember, it's down here. I'm way up here. The phone's right in front of my face. So I'm trying to use my good eyesight to see what the hell I'm doing. And that just has to go into this. Tin that a wee bit more. See if this will go on now without the wires separating again. There we go. Hopefully that should do the trick. Yeah, I think we're good to go with that. Get that out of the road. Just thinking the back doesn't feel like it's going down right, it's sort of squishing. against something, but that's right enough. The back is the cable clamp here. This thing's just been designed with simplicity in mind for the back of here. The least amount of parts as possible. Shears like this can be very expensive. Inside of here, they're very basic. The head, they're expensive, but when you go cordless in, you're getting even more basic. Just a wee basic DC motor running on a plastic gear. That's basically it. That's what runs the head of them. Corded ones will be a wee bit better. I'm also just going to get a new screw for this if I can too. Either that or turn the damaged one into a flat. Just check the dolly mixture drawer first. That's the size we need. We can get a longer one and cut it, or just see if there's anything in here. These are just all oddball screws, some new, some old, some used. That'll do. They don't need to be the same head as long as they're the same thread. That's it. One set of shears. Just make sure they work now. Make sure they're not switched on. Otherwise they just go dancing over the bench. That's not on either lot. There we go. All ready to go. Shite and all, still on it. There's not much point in cleaning them, because let's face it, I'll be covering on it the very next time they've been used. Now, another magnetic drill. Hopefully this one will be an easy one. This is a wee Alfra 35B with a standard tinfoil fuse. The customer says this one, the switch is sticking. I think he says the switch is sticking on, but I can't imagine. It's normally the opposite. So the magnet's working, this switch is working. But this one, that needs a bit of a kickstart to get going. So she is running. Actually, just test the lead. Just in case, you never know with these things. Right, just a switch, common enough. It's very unusual from the fail in the on position, because once you just take the power away from these go off anyway. It's a safety thing, but it's very common for the fail like that there, where they won't stay running on. The wee solenoid's gone inside. Lovely. Screws round it out. Luckily I do have the tool bag with me today and have the Nipex pliers. These are actually fantastic for jobs like this. These are a wee tapered button head screw, as in they run down, there's no shoulder to grab. These things are unreal sharp and great grip out of them. You know they're good whenever you lift them up, and every time you can feel it biting them under your fingers. Hopefully these will work now. Otherwise the grinder's going to have to come out. Yeah, I think we got it. Yep. If you're looking for a set of good pliers, check them things out. The Nutbex don't have to be limited edition. These are just a straight water pump pliers, but they can grab things in so many directions. Grab them here like standard ones, wee tiny hole here. The best thing is the very front of them. For wee tiny screws like that, you can get right in and grab them. Get you out of many's a hole. Otherwise, we're getting the grinder and cutting a wee slot in it, or else drilling the screw out. I hope I have one of these now. I'm 240. Here's a push on switch. So it'll let me take it out again. Try not to yank any of the wires out, because sometimes you can get a bit confused then as to where everything goes. There we go. Yeah, it's not even going to let me go that way. There's just not much space here for wires. What have we got? Live and neutral at the top and black and white at the bottom. So live and black are together. That is a tight fit. Just awkward to get into. Pop that out and just replace it. One switch. Now this one's from Ryobi, different brand. These are all the same switches. Like I say, you can get these in even Amazon or something. Doesn't matter which brand, as long as it's the right voltage. It's just a straight swap. It just pushes on. That should be it. That should do the trick. There's probably the most common thing to go in a magnetic drill. That, or brushes on the motor or something, or bearings. Generally, the on off switch is the first thing to go. See if I've got another one of these. Doesn't need to be the same or fancy. Just need to hold this down. As long as it's the same thread, it'll do the job. Now, that should do the trick. See what she runs like now. Power's on. Now the motor stays running. So if you have one and it powers up but it won't stay running, replace your switch. That's the first thing that always goes. That's her. On Alfra Rotobeast 35B magnetic drill. Nice easy fix. Right, wasn't going to do one of these because they're not popular, but this one sounds like it could be interesting. There's something going on inside of this box. Oh, I should never looked now. Right, what have we got? It's actually the older IM350/90, the original one with the actual bright orange. It was actually a different shade of orange you see here. And looks like, oh, what is going on? Ah, there's screws everywhere. Somebody's had a go at it instead of dismantling. What is going on here? This is one of the original ones. This is from actually 1999. The first two digits is the year. So 1999. This one's 27 years old. So that thing's done a brief amount of work. Is this even going to be worth it? Well, it actually doesn't look too dirty up on here. It was serviced not so long ago. The question is what's going on. Oh, right. It mightn't be too bad then. O-ring. Yeah. Right, see it's going on now. It's not that bad. Somebody has tried to fix it. Broke the O-ring, probably snapped or something. Pulled the O-ring out. And they don't know how to get the new one in. Or maybe they don't have it. No, they don't have a new O-ring actually. Yeah. But they probably don't know how to fit it anyway. And they just started taking screws out. So they've unscrewed the motor. They've unscrewed the sides. I don't know what they were doing. They're taking all of this apart instead of taking these two screws out here. Right. This actually isn't as bad as I thought. You know it's not straightforward and you can hear all the screws rattling around inside the box. At least he still has the stem adapter as well. Just throw all that stuff out. Right, we don't need the box. So all I had to do was take off this back cover, 4 bolts here, take this cover off, and nothing else. I didn't have to unscrew anything here. After he took out these 4 bolts, he should have just took off these 2. Now this whole top section can just come away. So before we do anything, I'll get some of these back in to actually hold it together. The other thing is this thing actually still running as well. We need to check that. I'll just check that next. Now these are getting to be a little bit too expensive to fix, and sometimes they can't even be fixed anymore because some of the parts for these older guns now are obsolete, like the molded circuit board on here that connects onto your battery and has the wiring and the switches for your triggers and your trigger up here. If any of those go, the buttons or the triggers go in that, or the contacts your battery, forget about it. That part's now obsolete. And it was expensive before it went obsolete. So before we do anything, let's just make sure it works. Yeah, this isn't screwed on, but it'll be alright. Yeah, we're safe enough. Right, O-ring now. Not good. Or not good for me. Fine for him. Last O-ring. I'll get them ordered again. Plenty of the big ones, which I don't need. Only one of these left. And not cheap. €22 plus the VAT for these here. So you don't get these brown ones anymore. The original ones for these here guns, these are obsolete. You can't get these brown O-rings for it anymore now. They'll just come up no longer available. But if you buy the one for the new IM350 Plus, this one here, Obviously that's a Makita number, don't have the number here, but if you get the one for IM350 Plus, the exact same O-ring, it's just black. So this is a very, very simple fix, just made more difficult by somebody unscrewing too many things. Not that it's a big deal, it's not hard to put on a couple of screws again. 4 at the back, 2 at the front, and you can open up these chambers, take the whole top half off, access the whole thing. And you can just change the O-ring if you need to. Now, they're a slack fit as well, don't be getting one thinking they're too slack and getting a tighter one. They're nice slack fit to get a good seal inside. They squeeze around the inside chamber. Now we'll just get some of this put back together again. He's probably just not knowing how to get to that O-ring and just started taking everything out, thinking he might have got onto it through here. Nothing wrong with that. May as well give it a go, even if you don't know what you're doing. You'll not learn if you don't try. And there's no harm anyway, even if it's a mistake. You'd rather see someone try to fix it than just not try at all. It's not difficult to stick a few screws back in again. Strangely enough, actually, all the bits for it are actually still here, as far as I can tell anyway. Normally when boys take it apart themselves and can't fix it, normally you'd find a lot of missing pieces. This man's obviously been nice and thorough about it. That's still tight. No, that's no good actually. It's just too loose. If they're not tight, gas will leak out and you'll not get the right gas air mix. You never pull them there out unless you need to, because otherwise they become loose. And they're not cheap for all they are. $8.50 plus the VAT for a little piece of plastic. The red one is for the big gas and the yellow one is for these short stumpy gas. Second fix gone. First fix gone. And that's it. The rest of it is actually fairly clean. Just make sure it plunges down completely before you put the back cover on. Make sure the O-ring's not getting caught in these little teeth. This one looks more complicated because there's all these washers. These are the original screws for the back of it. Now they're a socket head with a shoulder on it and a built-in washer. Flanged head. These just be sockets and a washer. Not that it makes that odds, but the newer ones don't fit these because there's a thinner insert. That should be it. We'll give that a go. Should be all he needs. I'll just use his gas and leave it in there. It's actually out of date. It's 2025, but it'll still tell us if it works. I could also do with a few more nails. That's her. That's her. Very surprisingly expensive, simple fix. Them 2 parts alone are basically the price of a full service in this thing. Kind of expensive, but the thing doesn't work without them. Right, it's getting late in the day, so I think we'll finish up on this one here. A Bosch hammer. This looks like a GSH5CE maybe. Not 100% sure. 2017. Numbers are worn off it. This one looks like it could be an interesting one, so we'll finish up on this. A bit of damage up here, look. No word on this machine. Not sure if this was dropped or somebody tried to drive over it, but that's broken anyway. First thing, let's see if she actually works. Because she's a 5, they can wear out the gears or need a service. Sounds okay. Thos hammer, unless this is the only problem. I think the check is just the brushes. We'll just quickly make sure they're not worn out. There's not much point in fixing bits up here than setting it back with a bad set of brushes. There's a bit of corrosion going on in here too, look. This thing has been exposed to water, as you can see from the rest of it too. The chisels in the box are all rusted as well, and all the paint's flaking off, look. So this is either getting wet constantly or it's sitting damp in a box somewhere. The rest of it should be alright. There's only a bit of water damage. It's dry anyway now. That's a lot of corrosion there. A little bit on the brush holders too. But they're not seized. Let's see if there's any sparking. I think we're safe enough. We'll put a new set of brushes in this anyway, because they are a little bit worn. Not worn out yet, but it's cheaper to change them now than having them send it back in again later. Change the brushes then. Yeah, just replace them. Do that first, and then we'll tackle the tool holder, see what's going on up here. Just a quick swap. Different story if that brush holder was all corroded. Just cover it back up again. I'll leave it the motor side like that. Hopefully this all we need to tackle really. Let's see, that's making it difficult to turn the chisel if he has to adjust. And it's actually broken here too. So I'd say that must have got drove over. Which ain't uncommon on a building site. Somebody just drops it down, some man in a van or a lorry or a digger just goes clean over the top of it. And again, there's a bit of corrosion up on here too. And so if I can get this out, there we go. Replace these parts, but also just clean down the whole tool holder, because this is looking a bit worse for wear. Yeah. Luckily enough, the rest of it ain't too bad. We might have trouble if we have to service this thing, if it was drove over by a lorry or something. That could be crushed in a wee bit. But as it stands, it's okay. So replace this and we'll replace that. For these things, it doesn't matter. If the model's gone, you can still go by the back of them. This long number at the top, 12-digit number. That's actually your type number there, 3611 C21060. That's the actual type of the machine. The model number can actually remain the same, and they can change the machine and have a different type number. That's the more reliable thing to go by anyway, so it doesn't matter if the model's not wrapped on it, you can still go by that. Just type that number in and it brings you up straight away. GSH5CE. And the parts we're going to get is just the 2 sleeves, 380 and 575. Should have them in stock. And then an 055 and 030. See if we can get these. This is something I never really need to replace. It's not very often you need to replace them. I think you'd have to do it quite often, but no. They tend to just last. You should have loads of these. There's actually a box of this stuff missing. I'm really certain there was another packet somewhere. And I think I'm going to have to find them now because I don't have any in here. Right, made it all the way out to the shed here, checking out here as well. Can't seem to find it. Now this place needs a good tidy up as well. This is where we just throw out all the broken machines that haven't been picked up or aren't going to be picked up again if the customers just left them for scrap. Might get parts out of them. But there's a few boxes of spare parts as well out here. And I remember there was a red box like this one with all plastic sleeves for Bosch hammers. I can't find it anywhere. But now this is ringing a bell. A Makita plunge saw. That's what's on top. But that's not what the box is. I think this is where it actually went to. I think the box broke. And I might have dumped it into one of these boxes. Just because you'd have plenty of toolboxes lying around. It's cheaper to use one of these and actually go and get in a container. Yep. That's what I'm after. That has easily been sat out there for 2 or maybe 3 years since this has actually been thrown in there. Forgot all about it. That's how often you use these here parts. I just assumed that was the box that plunge saw came in. Maybe we scrap one off and there was just plunge saw parts in this, but nope. It's the parts I've been looking for. Well, not been looking for. Knew I had, never needed. Other handles there, or knobs for the 11E for the side handle. They'd be used quite often for them underneath the computer desk. They're meant to be in there. Or at least that's where I keep them now. These are all wee air deflector and sleeves for all different machines. Even rubber caps, don't know why we ordered them in. They'll be on a service kit anyway. You don't replace them if you're doing a full service. You buy them separately for Makitas, but not for Bosch. That's a different one, different number, different shape. Doesn't have a packet, but that looks like the boy I'm after. The big spring or clip on the inside's missing on this one actually. And there's none in this here sleeve, so let's see if we can get one of them too. And also a different sleeve. Still on the top cap as well. No, not that one. That's a Makita. That's an old one. 30, was that the number? Yeah, 30. That's the right one there. So we're not stuck. I'll just see if we have the other sleeve. I'm not sure if that bottom sleeve comes with a clip or not. Breakdown diagram's a wee bit vague on it. Another wee kit off the 11 side handle, take that out. There's another one. No, go with the one we have to do. Another knob. Now see you can find a clip. These are all O-rings. Should have metal clips up around here. I'm not stuck for these parts. I could just use second hand ones, but for all the price of them, may as well just use the new ones. That's been up there a while. 041. That's what we're after. That should do the trick for this man. Nice easy fix. Nothing else really wrong with it. As long as she's running and she's hammering, she's good. Just needs to be able to get the chisel in and out and rotate the bit if he needs to. This will freshen it up a wee bit as well. First thing, get your sleeve, clip that on. Just need to give it a wee persuading. Your spring, your indexing disc, always check this just to make sure it's not broken. These wee lips here can snap off. And if they break, you'll end up getting your chisel stuck inside the holder and you have to dismantle it again. That's what's actually holding on these here two stops. So if that breaks when she's in and you go to disconnect, you're pushing this down, but the little stops aren't going with it. That actually drags them down, so it frees it up so you can get your chisel out. So if they break, you'll pull it down, it'll still be in the lock position. Not a big deal, easy to fix. It's a cheap wee part as well. It's just if you see it cracked or broken, just replace it. Tap that on, put on your sleeve, and that's not even a new rubber cap, that's the same one, just washed. This thing hasn't done an awful lot of work. It's not doing much, still getting abused. That's a new sleeve and holder, and it'll make this a lot easier to operate. Get the chisel in and out. That should be her. Few brushes, and now it can release the chisel. That's it. Our Bosch hammer ready for work. Anyway folks, that's it. That's the end of another long tool repairathon video. As always, thanks for watching folks. If you're liking the videos, make sure to hit that like and follow button down below. If you want to see more videos like this here, but plenty more posted. I always put up wee short ones every day on how to fix individual tools, wee problem videos, or wee short videos, and then every once in a while when I get a bit of time, I like to post these here longer tool repairathon videos. So subscribe if you want to see a few more and to help support the channel. That's it for today. As always, thanks for watching folks, and I'll chat to you again the next time. Cheers!